Well, a rights analyst and lawyer Frank Tietie joins us now to give us a legal perspective to this matter. Frank, good to see you. Well, you heard from the senator here that due process has been followed, but from where you stand, do you think, based on your observation, that due process indeed has been followed in this case?
No. And there is no due process. In fact, due process has been murdered by a cult of misogynist senators, and it's sad. It's a sad day for our democracy. So nobody should talk about due process. Let me tell you, because we are dealing with issues of fair hearing here. You cannot, and again, it's illegal by our laws, and I'm talking about Article 13 of the African Charter of Human and People's Rights Ratification and Enforcement Act is a Nigerian law, which says that you cannot actually, every Nigerian has a right to participate either directly or indirectly in the government or governance of his country. So you cannot even you cannot contemplate suspending a senator or a House of Assembly member. We talk about the idea that Senate is bound by its rules and that whatever happens in the Senate cannot be inquired into by the courts. That's a joke. Does it mean that if someone picks a gun and shoots another senator right there in the Senate, and then the courts or the police will keep quiet about it? They will arrest that person and they'll prosecute the person. It doesn't matter what the Senate president thinks. I think we just witnessed a situation where we have seen a deliberate attempt to repress, suppress, and oppress a Nigerian woman. And it is not really Natasha Akpoti that is the victim here. It is the Nigerian, because if a Nigerian senator can be dealt with so harshly, so mercilessly, because she attempted to express herself, just imagine what will happen to the ordinary Nigerian. And what did the woman do? If the woman resisted, the change of her seat, if it matters so much, you could have also said, if it didn't matter that she needed to just change her seat, you could have also considered that it didn't matter if she remained in her seat. But you see, there's a mixture of murdering the principles of fair hearing here, whether it is the principle of nemo judice causa sua, or the principle of fair hearing in the sense that you must fully hear the other side. I think we just seen a Nigerian woman, a Nigerian senator, being totally stripped of her Section 36 rights, her rights to fair hearing. And it's a very dark day, because I watched the international media before coming here, and they are making a real, music out of this, whether it's the ABC network or the BBC.
For want of time, let me ask you, because the senator did say that she was given an opportunity to present herself before the Ethics Committee yesterday. Reports from National Assembly reporters have it that they sat and waited for an hour thereabout. She didn't present herself, although she was in plenary when it was announced. That's on the one hand. When you say she wasn't given fair hearing, I want you to react to that. Hold on, Frank Tietie. And the other leg of my question is, given the fact that the Kogi Central people have now been denied representation for 6 months, do they, as a people, can they really challenge this suspension as a violation of their constitutional right to representation?
That's why it looks as if we have a group of tyrants in the Nigerian Senate. Just imagine that. You deprive
very strong words, though.
No.
Very strong words.
What are you talking about?
When you describe the senators as tyrants, that is a very strong word to use.
It looks as if
we
have a group of tyrants in the Nigerian Senate, and we practice a democracy, right? Now, our laws say that a people will be represented at every material time in the Senate. Are you a court who deprive the people who have gone to participate in an election to determine that this woman should represent them, and you sit together as a committee to not decide her right, and your committee is not impartial, your committee is not independent, and you deprive the whole people of that constituency in Kogi State of representation? What are you talking about? And you say you are a democracy, and then you are telling me about fair hearing, let me tell you something. There are what we call hierarchy of laws in our country. The Constitution sits at the top, followed by laws made by the National Assembly, followed by laws made by the House of Assembly. Also, we have regulations by ministers and rules made by the Chief Judge or by the Senate. Rules are not meant to be laws that are so technical, that are so rigid. They are meant to assist the application of the law to attain justice. If somebody is not present, you give the person an opportunity to come. If the person makes a mistake, whether signing a petition when he ought not to sign, there is no law against it. There are provisions for regularization. Senior advocates and lawyers make such mistakes against the rules of court every time.
Let me just follow up there, because he didn't really answer that question. Frank, you haven't answered my question. My question really was, can the people of Kogi Central, her constituents, now challenge this suspension, was my question.
Wait a minute. Why would you contemplate that you will create a problem that does not exist, and then you send the people of Kogi West on an errand to go and challenge an clear illegality? Are you not guided by law? See, we are doing everything possible to save our democracy, and the democracy that we practice is we must govern, we must subject ourselves to the legal process. If the African Charter of Human and People's Rights Ratification and Enforcement Act in Nigerian law says at every material time, a Nigerian, whether by himself or a representative, must participate in his government. How dare you suspend? Are you a court? Are you a tribunal? Just because you feel offended? Why are we turning our democracy upside down? Right. A few days ago, a congressman was shouting down on President Trump. They didn't do the worst to him. They simply censured him and asked him to walk out. They didn't tell you that he was suspended.
Yeah, Frank,
let's practice it well.
We don't have all day. Now, there are some fundamental issues that may have led to all of this, and I'm wondering, number one, based on your observation so far, from the very first day of refusing to move from seat A to seat B, do you see exhibition of sufficient knowledge of the workings or the processes of the Senate on the part of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan? And when she says this justice will not be sustained, it will not stand, she remains defiant. And we're hearing from the Senate that if she apologizes, she will get some reprieve from the 6-month suspension. Your thoughts on this?
They are trying to browbeat, intimidate, and hold down a Nigerian citizen. Unfortunately, it's a woman. Just imagine that. Where did the rule say that apologize first before we will forgive you? And let me tell you, it is not really as a matter of course that anybody or any senator must master the entire rules. We have it as a saying as lawyers that God forbid that you should carry the entire laws in your head. And if a senator makes a mistake, it is a mistake, and that's why it's meant to be corrected and not should be used against her. And it happens, not all of them there understand the rules of the Senate. And every time when distinguished Senator Tietie was there, he kept on lecturing them every now and then while he was in the Senate. How can they now latch on a simple mistake or a misnomer? And let me tell you, you see, you don't even need to understand the English language or speak it so correctly to be a senator or a representative, provided you are able to represent your people. So what are we turning this thing into?
All right.
She has done creditably well, and she is even more articulate, far more articulate than these persons who have put her on trial so unfairly. What kind of country are we trying to be?
We're almost out of time. The very last question, very briefly. You have used the word mistake 4 times in the course of this conversation. 1, do you admit that she has made mistakes? 2, if she has, what was an appropriate measure to take by the Senate if they say she did not even present herself for the ethics committee to hear her out?
Look, that woman, that respectable, distinguished senator of Nigeria did not make a mistake. I cited for an example. Let me be honest with you. See, a person is entitled to reasonable perception. If her perception is that I am being discriminated against because I am this, I am that, because I didn't do this, because I was said to do that, she has every right to protest, especially in the floor of the Senate, and that's exactly what she did. And again, just the same way people plead the Fifth Amendment rights, a senator, a Nigerian citizen, can decide not to show up, make whatever decision that you want to decide to make, and then it can also be challenged. What are we trying to? You see, we want to victimize the woman further and then traumatize her. And I tell you, you're not even making reference to the fact that there was a legitimate court order, as it was reported, that was served on them, and that they needed to respect the right of an individual Nigerian. It doesn't matter whether she's a woman or a senator, that whatever they are doing is capable of traumatizing and destroying the self-esteem of a Nigerian citizen, of a Nigerian woman. They didn't care. What group of people are these? Come on, they should get better advice.
Okay. Frank Tietie, Arise analyst and lawyer, thank you very much for your insights on this matter.